I'm sure you've heard by now about a little event in December called Dunesday. Yes, on December 18th, Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday are going to release on the exact same day. Now, there's been a lot of buzz around this, and if you're, not on the internet as much as I am, you're probably wondering, why is that such a big deal? Obviously, there was Barbenheimer, which was a huge deal. That was an infamous crossover event that was really, really fun to be a part of, and definitely made both of those films. I think both of those films got a huge boost from that situation. Marvel created Doomsday whenever they switched their release date for Avengers Doomsday from May of 2026 to December of 2026. Okay, now this is a very popular release date. It's the Friday right before Christmas, which I'm convinced you can just dump any movie on and it's gonna make a profit. Just this release date is just insane. I always go to the movies for Christmas around that time. I know a lot of people who do. It's just a very good release date, and if you put any sort of crowd pleaser in this slot, it's gonna do amazing. Now, people keep wondering if Avengers Doomsday is going to move, but they refuse. They obviously came here later, and Dune actually took up all of the IMAX screens that they have booked. So Dunes has I think a 2-week exclusivity for the IMAX screens, and that's actually gonna be a huge problem because IMAX charges more per ticket, which actually makes the profit revenue go up because studios share the same amount of ticket revenue no matter the cost of the ticket. So if it's a $20 ticket to an IMAX, they're gonna get $10 from that ticket rather than the $4 that they would if they saw it in a regular movie theater. Doomsday is a problem of their own making. I think a lot of people think that they're not going to cannibalize each other a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to take huge hits. I'm not saying they're both going to flop, but they are going to eat into each other's box office. And when you see the lengths and measures that Marvel is doing to try to make as much maximum profit from this movie as possible, you would also ask yourself, why not just move it a weekend earlier? Get that IMAX screen. I think it's going to be a small dent in the box office, for sure. I'm going to be seeing Dune Part 3 first, for sure, but make no mistake, Avengers Doomsday is going to be a huge crowd pleaser. Now, it's not Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War. The hype going into those movies, you just had to be there. It was the culmination of generations of stories. I think a lot of people are interested in Avengers Doomsday. I'm not sure how many people are actually going to go see Avengers Doomsday. I think it's really going to entirely depend on the box office of the film. But Marvel, to make up for the fact that they don't have the IMAX screen, because again, they created their Avengers Doomsday problem, created something called Infinity Vision. And in my opinion, this is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so what Infinity Vision is Marvel and Disney are going to be sending around inspectors around movie theaters all across America. And any movie theater that's just, get this, simply up to date, good audio, good visual, good projector is going to be called Infinity Vision and get a premium upgrade on their screen. So essentially the biggest screen in the theater. So now, because of Disney Marvel, you are going to be paying extra to see a movie on a bigger screen than the one literally right across from the thing. It's essentially their version of getting you to pay more for seeing it opening weekend. I think it's ridiculous. I have a huge problem with this for a lot of reasons. I don't like price tiering movie theaters. I have AMC A-List, and the news that they're reserving seats for AMC A-Listers at AMC bothers me. I like AMC A-List, but I want other people to have that exact same opportunity. They're also re-releasing Avengers Endgame with Doomsday footage in the theater to try to essentially maximize the profit that they could get from not just Avengers Doomsday, but from the Avengers Doomsday trailer. Mind you, when they originally released the trailer for Avengers Doomsday, it was in front of Avatar, and it was in 4 different trailers. So I think they had a Captain America one, a Thor one, an X-Men one, and a Black Panther Fantastic Four one. Honestly, as much as I hate it, I actually don't think it's bad marketing and keeps people talking about the movie. I think Infinity Vision is ridiculous. They're also bringing back the cast from Avengers Endgame. I don't really know if you can bring them back since they haven't even been gone a decade. At what point was it not even really a break, I have huge problems with that. Not going to talk about that in deep because I've talked about that in my other films, on my other videos on my channel that you can go check out. That's just kind of my thoughts on that. And they're just really going all in on the advertising of this movie and in the storyline of this movie. They're just really committed solely to Avengers Doomsday. They don't have any movies coming out before, they have Spider-Man coming out, but that's Sony, but they don't have any other movies coming out besides Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War on their slate. Okay. Now, I hope what you've gathered from this point is that Avengers Doomsday is crucial for Marvel Studios. Now let's examine why. Okay, the future of the MCU depends on this movie. Okay, because the MCU has been just financially, whatever you think about it creatively, I actually think the last couple movies they made were very, very good. Financially, it's been a disaster. Okay, just losing profit on films year after year. I think the future of Kevin Feige as the head of Marvel Studios also depend on this. Disney has had a lot of executive shifts lately. They just got a new CEO and a new department of film and television. And I think Kevin Feige knows good and well that if this movie underperforms, he's probably out as CEO. And what the Marvel Cinematic Universe will look like without Kevin Feige, I don't know. I can't even say it's going to be worse because I haven't loved the product that Kevin Feige has made in his recent works. But that will look very different, and I think Kevin Feige knows that, and that's why he's going on it. Also, it shows the staying power of the MCU. You know, I personally am of the belief that while I think the superhero renaissance is over, the core superheroes that always worked are still going to work. You're still going to have your Batman, you're still going to have your Superman, you're still going to have your Spider-Man. Those are always going to work. Those are going to be fine. I think the age of just being able to make any movie at all and slapping the superhero title on it and it making $1 billion, that's over. You know, I'm kind of honestly happy that that's over a little bit sometimes because I didn't like the Joker movie and everything. But if an Avengers movie can't gross, I'd say 1.5 billion. I think that's a troubling sign. I mean, I think if it makes $1 billion, it's fine. I think that's all it has to do is to make $1 billion. But I do think that this is really a litmus test for the future of the MCU in terms of its profitability and really truly if superhero fatigue really has just, I think it exists. I know it exists. I have it. But if superhero fatigue really is a concern for Marvel Studios as a whole, and also the old cast, because the new cast wasn't working, you know, and just besides developing them and actually trying to make them work, they just decided to throw the old cast back in. So, you know, was the new cast the problem? Is bringing back those old characters going to be the same thing? How do we feel watching the X-Men die for like the 5th time? You know, like how is this stuff going to impact the story? Now let's get into the Dune of it all, because Dune definitely is not just going to be an easy win either. Again, I think both of these films, make no mistake, are going to do very good, but Dune also has an uphill battle as well. Dune is the 3rd film in the franchise, okay? So it requires viewing of 2 very long movies prior. I'm very excited about Dune, love Dune. I've read all the Dune books, but the 3rd Dune book is insane and where the story starts to get a little bit weird. I'm curious to see what changes they're going to make from the book, but can you make a lot of changes from the book and please the book fans? I don't know. But it is a very weird movie and it is a very experimental movie. And again, I would love for Denis Villeneuve to get it right. And I'm a big Dune fan, but not in the way that like if they make a change, I'm going to be upset. We'll see if Dune is able to satisfy audiences as well. I think Avengers Doomsday definitely has an uphill battle, but I think so does Dune 3. And so I think that it's also just very important for the dichotomy of these 2 films and what audiences want to see from Hollywood. You know, do they like big epics or do they like more fun films, you know, more moment films or more story-driven films? And again, I'm not necessarily saying one or the other because I haven't seen either one. So I'm not going to say that, oh, Dune 3 is going to be better or Avengers Doomsday or whatever it is. The reason it's so big, really, the reason why Doomsday is so big is because it's a pivotal point for the Marvel franchise, truly, but also just for cinema and film and audience interest. Like I said, I think that they're both going to do good, but I think they'll also cannibalize each other a little bit in terms of eating into each other's box office. And I think it's insane. We're, again, upscaling regular theaters to try to make a little bit more profit. We could just move the movie to a different release date, but I digress. Also, I think that they're also looking at the outcome of this performance before they come into 2027, because in 2027, not only does Avengers Secret Wars come out on the same day, the Gollum Lord of the Rings movie comes out, as well as The Housemaid 2, which don't doubt The Housemaid 2, okay? Look at Barbenheimer, okay? I think it's a test of the audience of the 2 extremes, experimental or safe. I think that both films are probably going to have faults for being a little bit of both. I think Dune 3 is probably going to be faulted for being a little bit too experimental, and I think Avengers Doomsday is probably going to be faulted for being a little bit too safe. But we'll see what audiences pick, what the reaction is. I think that it's not just the box office as well, but what the reaction is from these movies, what the reviews are from the critics, from the audiences, what people feel about it, what MCU fans feel about it, what Dune fans feel about it, what film fans feel about it, what the audience feels about it. So that's why Doomsday is so important and is worth looking into and is worth being excited about. Even if you're not interested in either one of these films, what they mean for the future of blockbuster cinema is very important. I just wanted to make a fun little video this week, something that was just kind of like fun and lighthearted. I had a busy week, so I want to do something that was just going to be kind of like easy for me to make. So let me know what you thought about this video down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate every single person who watches my videos. Please comment. Please be sure to subscribe, share my video, like it, and peace out.